Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Cristin, and today on Cristin Eats, I'm going to be eating some Subway. And I have been wanting Subway for so long, oh my goodness. But we've been sick, like my whole family, my husband, my baby, we've all had this horrible, like, chest cold. So I really haven't been getting out and doing much, because, like, you guys ever get sick, or maybe it's medications, I'm not really sure if it's like the cold meds I've been taking, or the being sick, but it's like when I'm in a car and I'm driving, like, I can't focus on things, does that make sense? And like when I'm driving, I feel like lights pass me and they just like stream past, you know, like, I don't know, it's some trippy stuff, and I don't trust myself driving when I'm that sick. So this is like the first day I've really gotten out and drove and did anything. I had to go get my son a second car seat. Go ahead and get all this stuff out. This is a little container I found in my husband's car. Throw that into the sink there. So I have been driving my husband's car. Well, today is the first day I've really been driving it. My husband has been taking my car to work, well, because I was so sick, but we also had like a bunch of really bad, nasty weather. It got super cold, and the roads were bad, and so he took the SUV, which is my car, honestly, because one, I was sick, I wasn't going to go anywhere, and for two, like, it's really a safer car to be driving in snowy weather versus his car, which is a Grand Prix, and my car is a Dodge Journey. So my car's newer, it just does better on snow and ice, etc., etc. But as I mentioned, today was my first day of getting out and going anywhere. So crumple all that up really quickly. So, let me get the soup out. I almost spilt the soup like all over myself in the car, and the lady noticed I was struggling because the lid popped off. Thankfully, I didn't spill any, but the lid did pop off in the car, in the bag. And she was really nice, and she like took the bag back and like got the lid on. I was so afraid I was going to spill it all over myself, and she seen I was struggling, and she's like, oh, here, let me fix that for you. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm afraid I'm going to dump it everywhere. So I got some potato soup. I've never had Subway's potato soup. I normally get like their broccoli cheddar, which is so good. Haven't had that in forever. The last time I remember trying to get broccoli cheddar soup from Subway, I was pregnant. And my son's a year and a half now, so that's been a minute. And I remember being in the drive-thru for it, and they told me they were out of soup, which I don't know why I was so surprised, because like it was, I don't know, January, I think. And that particular winter didn't really hit until January, and it was just a cold, yucky day, and I wanted soup, but so did everybody else in town. So again, I don't know why I was surprised that they were out, but they were out, and it made me so mad. Oh, so mad. But let me tell you what, I was mad like my entire pregnancy. I know some women get like emotional and they cry a lot. I was mad. I was mad at the world. I was mad at people. I wasn't just mad. I was just mad. My entire pregnancy, I was angry. Pregnancy made me angry. I just wasn't fit for public. So, because I remember like trying to order the soup and they didn't have it. And like I'm like super nice when I order food anywhere or whatever. Like I've worked at restaurants. I know how crappy people can be. And I just try to be really nice out in town, because I've seen, you know, I've been there, I've experienced it when you're working a minimum wage job and you get some hotty-toddy person in there who is either so old they've forgotten what it is to work that kind of a job, or they've never worked it to begin with. And so they're just kind of, you know, rude and like demanding and entitled, and I had to deal with people like that. So I always try to be like super, super nice whenever I go to eat anywhere, or if I'm shopping. I always try to be super nice to the employees. And I remember that day when they told me they didn't have any soup. I didn't say anything. I just pulled out a line and left. I was so mad. So today, I've got some potato soup, and then I've got my regular here, which I have this order down pat. Okay, you ready? Okay. It is a foot-long Italian urban cheese with Black Forest ham and turkey with provolone cheese, lettuce, pickle, cucumber, and mayonnaise, not toasted, not heated. When I worked not my last job, I keep wanting to say my last job. This would have been 4 jobs ago, but I had this particular job for like 4 years. I did food demonstrations for Sam's Club, but the place I worked for had a contract with Sam's Club, Walmart, and Kroger, so I did a lot of traveling. I say Sam's Club because that was my home store, but I traveled a lot. And anytime I got sent to like a Walmart or something, most Walmarts had Subway. So I ate so much Subway, I should have bought stock in the place. That's been a couple years since I worked there. And then I had it like 3 other jobs in the span of like 1 year before I got pregnant and quit and became a stay-at-home mom. So whenever I say my last job, I feel like I'm talking about doing food demonstrations. When in reality, my last job was working daycare, and that was a nightmare. I'm not meant to work with other people's children. Let's just put it like that. At least not when I'm pregnant. Like I said, everything made me mad. I liked the daycare job when I first started, but I got pregnant shortly after that. And within a couple weeks of pregnancy, like, the hormones were going, and I was angry at life. So, anyway, bread's a little burnt. Like, I like it when this is, not so brown. And then I can, like, pull the cheese off. It's so good like that. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the setup. Kind of zoomed you in a little bit. I know this shelf here is kind of a mess, but it's older than dirt. It was my grandmother's. There's a pencil marking right here that says 1989. So that's like a year before I was born. So this is at least from 1989, if not older. I've tried taping this guy right here. I don't even know if you guys can really see him on camera. I should probably just take it off because it looks really dumb. I've tried taping him back on. He keeps falling down. Anyways, within this next year, I'm really hoping to replace it. There's some really nice shelves at Big Lots. I like to get one from there. Because I just need like the extra storage for like all my crap here in the kitchen. So hopefully within the next couple of months, this guy will go away. We shall see. And then I cleaned off, I think I cleaned this off with my first MukBang here in this channel. Anyways, we've got a salt lamp right there, a pink Himalayan salt lamp. And then over here, I have a wax warmer. So let me know, you guys, tell me what you think of like the setup. I zoomed you in a little bit closer, so let me know what you think of all of this. Is it working? Is it not? Do we need to do something different? I'm really not the best at decorating, so we'll see how far we get with what goes up here. Probably not a lot. But yeah, so so good. So good. So if you guys have any requests for things you'd like to see me eat, feel free to leave them down below. And if I'm able to, I will definitely make it happen. I hope you guys are liking this channel so far. We're just starting out. We're on video number 2, which is super exciting. So, as I mentioned, kind of using my husband's car right now. Kind of going in between. So, up until like an hour ago, my son only had one car seat. He needs like the toddler car seat. He's 1.5 years. And I loaded him up in his infant car seat, which he fit barely, but he did fit. He was within regulations. I was reading on the requirements for that car seat, and their head had to be at least 1 centimeter below the top of the car seat. But she was pushing it. He was there, but he was pushing it. And he had to be under 30 pounds. And I think he's like 22 or 23 pounds. So, like, the weight limit was fine. But the length on it really pushed it. But I loaded him up in his infant car seat because his actual toddler car seat is in the SUV, which is not anywhere near here right now. And I took him downtown, which was like 2 or 3 streets over. We didn't go very far. And we went to a local consignment shop, and they had one toddler car seat, and I took it. I got it for like $32, so it's a used car seat, but this is like a spare, a backup, an extra, you know. It had all of its parts. I think I got it installed correctly. I'm not entirely sure on like the back harness part. Like, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. It's like this long back strip that buckles into like the back behind the car seat, behind, you know, the headrest and all that stuff. that wasn't like attached when I bought it. So I had to like reattach it to the car seat, and I think I did it right, but I think I'm gonna watch a tutorial to double check and make sure that it's installed correctly. I think it is. Other than that, like everything else is installed right. And so now he has an actual car seat, and I'm so thankful they had one that was like a neutral color. This one's black, and like the inner lining has like a black and white pattern on it. Not really sure how to describe it. It's kind of like circles, but it's not really circles. Almost like chains connected. So, you know, that's a good neutral car seat. Good for a boy or a girl. I mean, I would have taken a pink one. I don't really care. Like, this is like an extra car seat, and my son doesn't care. So, whatever they had available. But when I walked in, I told the lady what I was looking for. She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I think we might only have one available." And she seemed like I wouldn't want it. And I was like, "Oh, like, I'm not that worried what it looks like. It's just an extra car seat." And she goes, "Oh, well, if it's just an extra car seat." And then she came back and showed it to me, and it's black. And I'm like, that works for all genders. Like, it's not girly, in my opinion. I mean, someone might think it is, but I mean, it's just black. And like I said, it has like the black and white chains pattern. So I think it works just fine for a boy. And again, my kid doesn't care. So that worked out nicely. So now my son has a car seat in his daddy's car, and in mommy's car. I just hate switching car seats. This is a giant pain in the butt to switch car seats, especially with the SUV. Like my husband's car, it's a Grand Prix, as I mentioned. It's not that hard to get the seat in and out. A little more difficult to get him strapped in because you have to like get into the back of the car seat, or you have to get into the back of the car and you have to like squat down on the floorboard to like strap him in. So that's a little harder, but like getting the seat in and out, it's not that bad. But with mine, my car sits up higher, so you have to like crawl into the back seat to like do some buckles in the back seat, and then you have to like crawl into the trunk of the car to go get the back strap, and it's just a giant pain in the butt to get things out of the SUV. So I'm glad to have a second car seat. It's gonna make life a lot easier. So if you guys don't mind, I think it would be fun to do another one of those like get to know you quizzes kind of a thing like we did the last time. So I'm going to run to my office really quickly and get the paper that I have with all the questions written on it, and I will be right back. So this one is called the TMI Tag. Honestly, I'm not really sure why it's called that because like I don't think these questions are all that personal, but it gives us something to talk about. So, question number 1. What are you wearing? I feel like to make this TMI, it should say like, what do your underwear look like or something? You know, like that seems more TMI to me. Which, black underwear and black bra. But for clothes, I have on a pair of A&A jeans from JCPenney. And my top is called a Randy, and it's from LuLaRoe. Question number 2. Ever been in love? Well, yes, I have. I've had 4 big loves in my life, like people that I really thought I was going to have a future with. The only one that worked out with was my husband, which I'm fine with. First one, my first like real love, I was in high school. I was 17. You know, it's your first love. Those typically don't work out. Mine certainly didn't. Looking back, hindsight's 20/20. Like obviously, wasn't a good pick. That relationship was really bad actually. But I was young and I really did love him. The second one was somebody who was a really good guy. I thought we had a future. I was like a senior in high school. He was only like a few months older than me, but he graduated like 2 years before me. So he already had like a good job. He had a career as a locksmith. And I thought him and I would have a future together. But things ended up getting a little too real for him when his parents started like talking about like us getting married and stuff after him and I had dated for a year. And he just got really freaked out by it, and he broke up with me, and that devastated me. The second relationship wasn't a great one. Well, I guess it'd be the third one, wouldn't it? That wasn't a great relationship. It was really a bit of a rebound that lasted way longer than it should have, but I really fell in love with that guy. And he just treated me like shit, to be completely honest. He didn't treat me well at all. And I finally got to a point where I made up the decision in my mind. I was like, I am better off if I am alone the rest of my life than I am if I'm with this guy. So I got out of that relationship. And then I found my husband like 6 months after that, and him and I have been inseparable ever since. He is my best friend. He's amazing. Like, I cannot imagine my life without him. He is I don't say he's my everything, but he's my everything. Like, he's truly the best thing that ever happened in my life, and he has brought me so much peace. You can hear my dog. She's down here scratching. But after that last relationship I had, that was just so much turmoil, and he really didn't treat me well. He cheated a lot, and it was a lot of ups and downs. That relationship was so stressful. It's definitely one of those relationships where, like, you get addicted to, like, the stress of it, if that makes sense. It's like when things are good, they're so good, and when they're bad, they're so bad, and it's just like this sick addiction. You get to, like, this up and down part of a relationship, and you hate it and you love it all at the same time. So after all of that, after I got away from that, and I really seen, like, wow, that was like a really shitty relationship, and I got with my husband, like, he just brought me so much peace, and he's, I don't know, he just makes me happy, and yeah, I don't know, it's great. Number 3, ever had a terrible breakup? Yes. 2 really bad ones. The first bad breakup being the one with he was my second boyfriend, or third. I've had a handful of boyfriends. 2 prior to the one that was like my first love. They were both more like friends, really. But we like held hands and all that cutesy stuff. But the breakup with him was really bad, really messy. It was my first love, my first heartbreak. It was messy. And then the breakup before my husband. The whole relationship was just bad. Because we broke up, we were together, we broke up, we were together. The whole relationship was just a mess. Number 4, how tall are you? I am 5'7". How much do you weigh? A lot. I weigh, last time I was on the scale, I weighed 265 pounds. I've kind of been fluctuating between 265 and 275. Most I ever weighed was during my pregnancy. I got up to like 293, and that scared me. But I'm actually going to be getting a gym membership here at the end of the month, and I'm pretty excited to be able to get back to the gym, because I have not had a gym membership or been at the gym since getting pregnant. So that's been like 2+ years ago, and I've really packed on the pounds since then. Any tattoos? No. Any piercings? Yes. I have my belly button pierced, my nose, my eyebrow, both lower lobes. I have a hoop up here and my industrial over there. I would like to get my tregs done, and I would like to get the nape of my neck done, but I donate plasma over at BioLife. It's a great way to make a little extra money. I have a whole video on that on my other channel. I can link that down below, which I have another channel if you guys are just catching this. So over on my main channel, I have a whole video talking about donating plasma. I can link it below if you're interested, but it's a great way to make extra money. But the issue with getting more piercings or tattoos when you donate plasma is that you have to wait like 8 weeks after your piercing or tattoo before you can donate again. And that's a good chunk of money that you're missing out on. So I don't know when I'll get around to getting more piercings done, but I would like to. Number 8, I don't really understand this question. It says OTP, question mark, which if anybody knows what that means, let me know down below. But I put in film romances because the girl said OTP, and then she like rambled off a bunch of like film romances that she likes. The girl, where I got the questions from. Just to clarify. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on like different kind of tags to find these questions. So, on-screen romances that I like. The Titanic's always good. It's always been a great love story. I know that's pretty common for people to say, I guess. Also The Notebook, like who doesn't love The Notebook? Yeah, I don't know. I guess the other ones that I was really into would have been, oh, what's that show called? It's Vampire Diaries and the romance between Elena and Damon. I was pretty into that one most recently. Favorite shows? I am so weird with shows. Like, I'll watch something. I like to watch things on Netflix. I prefer the show to be, like, finished and over so that I can just, like, binge watch the entire thing, like, all of the seasons, and then I'm done with it. Like, I don't go back to it. But shows that I'm watching currently, I'm working on the newest season of American Horror Story on Netflix. I recently watched Anne with an E. It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's really cute. I can't wait for the next season. It's about Anne of Green Gables, if you guys have ever seen or heard of that show. There's like a new revamp on it. My husband and I are currently watching Black Mirror. We've only watched the first episode, but so far it's pretty good. The Walking Dead we've been working on forever. Game of Thrones, of course. Won't be back till 2019. Those are just what I can think of, like, right off the top of my head. I went through the other day and I, like, put a whole bunch of things into my watch list on Netflix. So they have, like, a bunch of new stuff out. There was another one that I seen. What was it called? The Tudors, if I'm saying that right. It's about, like, what is her name? Man, this went out of my head. Anne Boleyn, that's her name. Like, that's really, I think, what the show should have been called. It should have been called Anne Boleyn. But it's about the Tudors and Anne marrying King, whatever his name was, and I don't know, his last name was Tudor, Tudor, however you want to pronounce that. And then there was another one I've seen that, like the TV show The Crown, but it was actually a movie that was pretty good, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was on Netflix. And there's another one that's about Queen Mary of Scots, but I can't remember what that show's called either, but it's also on Netflix. And that one has the Tudors and the one about Queen Mary of Scots, if you like that old king and queen fairy tale kind of a thing. They have, like, the entire series, so I've watched both of those. Both are really good shows. Favorite bands? Good Charlotte. Oh my god. Take me back to middle school. Good Charlotte is, like, the only band that I've ever been, like, in love with, obsessed with, like, and oddly I've never seen them in concert. I would love to someday, but I'm not really, like, obsessed with them like I was when I was a teenager. But, like, that was the only band I ever really, like, really got into. But I like anything that's country. I like anything that's rock and roll, heavy metal, emo, screamo. I like some rap and hip hop. I like classical. I'm pretty open-minded to my music taste, but what I listen to the most goes between country and rock. Something you miss. The Discovery Zone. Totally random. But now that it's, like, wintertime and we're, like, cooped up in the house, like, I know I'm too old for the Discovery Zone, okay? Like, I get that I can't go play there. But I would love to take my son to the Discovery Zone. I loved it as a kid, and I think it would be a great place for him to, like, burn off his energies. But it's no longer around. And Chuck E. Cheese does not really have, like, any place to play. It's like an arcade now. And I remember being a kid going to Chuck E. Cheese, and yes, they had the arcade games, but I remember them also having, like, the ball pits to play in and, like, things to climb on. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering Chuck E. Cheese. 90 kids out there, let me know. Like, did your Chuck E. Cheese have, like, ball pits and, like, things to climb on? Favorite song? I don't know that I really have a favorite song anymore. I don't really listen to music. I mean, I listen to music when I'm driving or when I get in the shower. But I don't have, like, a favorite song and I'm like, yes, I gotta listen to it all the time. Like, I don't know. I have bands that I like to listen to. Like on Pandora, I think I have it on Korn Radio. And so like Korn, Seether, I'm completely drawing a blank on other things. Bush, they're pretty good. System of a Down. I don't know, anything that comes up on Korn Radio, I guess. How old are you? I'm 27. I will be 28 in April. Zodiac sign, I am a Taurus. Number 15, qualities you look for in a partner. Well, I've got like a list of different things that I was looking for in a partner when I started dating again. Like after the messy breakup and before I found my husband. Because I was single for like 6 months. And I went on dates, but I kind of come to the conclusion that I wanted to settle down. I was tired of playing games. I was tired of dating just for fun. I wanted to find somebody that I could marry. So I was looking for somebody who was either in college or had a career. I wanted somebody who had their own car. That was very important. I wanted somebody with a good home life that came from a good home because, and I know people aren't going to like hearing half the things that I have to say because it might be hurtful, but coming from a good home life is very important. Looking how a man treats his mom is very important. If a man is disrespectful to his mother, that's how he's going to treat you. And if he does not have a good relationship with his mom, I would say enter that relationship with caution. Everything, of course, is going to be circumstantial. You know, I'm sure there are perfectly lovely men out there who legitimately just have horrible moms or for whatever reason don't have good relationships with them. And they're perfectly lovely men. But in my personal experience, and just from what my mom taught me, and I found it to very much be true, pay attention to how a man treats his mom because it's going to be how he treats you more than likely with your average circumstance. So a good home life, good relationship with parents, and then just like your basic stuff about like, you know, being faithful, being loyal. Are you fun to be around? Do I enjoy your company? Then you can get down to like the more cosmetic things, I guess. You know, what's my type as far as physical attraction goes? I like tall men. My husband's 6'5". I like blue eyes. He has blue eyes. I like broad shoulders. He has broad shoulders. And when I started dating again, I sat down and made myself a full list of things that I would like to have in a potential partner. And keep in mind, like, I had things to offer myself. Like, I had my own car. I had a decent job. Yes, I lived at home with my parents, but that was really a choice. I didn't have to. I was in college at the time. I come from a good, stable home background. I love my parents. I treat them with respect. I'm respectful towards my partner. You know, those kind of things. So I really feel like what you're looking for, you got to make sure, like, you have something equal to offer in a lot of cases. But, however, that's what I did. I had a whole list, and I went on dates with people, and there were a lot of guys who were cute, and they were fun, and they were funny. But I did not continue dating them because they either didn't have a job, or, you know, they didn't have good relationships with their parents, and they were disrespectful. Any number of reasons, but if they didn't match up to my list of what I wanted in a partner, as far as the important things go, not as far as like looks. Looks are nice, and I just happen to get very lucky that my husband has all the looks that I like in a man. But he's everything on my list. The only thing he was missing off my list was tattoos. I think tattoos are freaking so sexy. My husband doesn't have any. Otherwise, he's everything on my list. And those are the qualities I look for in a partner, and those are what I found in a partner. My husband and I have been together for 5 years, married for 4, and it's great. I would recommend it if you were ready to settle down doing that. Just make a list of everything you want and date with the intention of finding someone you want to marry, And if you go on a date with somebody and they don't meet the important criteria on your list, don't be afraid to walk away. It's okay to walk away and say, you know what, I like you, but you're not what I'm looking for. And that's okay to do. And it's okay to walk away. And I did it with a handful of different guys. And there was a few that I questioned. Am I making the right decision? Should I, you know, be okay with them not having a car or be okay with them not having a job? But in the end, I'm really glad that's what I did. Because I wouldn't have had my husband if I hadn't. So, anyway, favorite quote. I don't remember who it's from, but it's I'm trying to remember how it goes. Live like you will die tomorrow, learn like you will live forever. Favorite actor? I don't know that I really have a favorite actor or actress. I liked Kristen Stewart for a while, but she hasn't really been in anything for a while. I like Emma Watson. Dakota Fanning's good. I don't know, there's like a handful of people, like, if they're in a movie, I will likely see it. But I can't say that I really have, like, a favorite actor. I'm not, like, super into pop culture. That's not something that, like, really interests me. My husband, on the other hand, like, he knows all kind of actors' names, actors and actresses, all kinds of shows, all kinds of music. Like, he just knows this stuff. And I'm like, I don't have a clue. I'm one of those people that's like, oh yeah, I liked that show with the boat that came out in the 90s. And there was a door they floated on. Like, that's me. So, yeah. Favorite color? I like blue. It's one of my favorite colors since I was a kid. But I also really like black. I like to dress in black. I feel like black just goes with everything. Loud or soft music? Well, I like rock and roll. I like screamo, I like heavy metal, so you can figure out my volume levels from that. But granted, I don't like music as loud as I used to. I used to really want it loud, and now I'm like, bring it down a notch. So, I mean, I like the heavy stuff, I just maybe don't listen to it as loud as I used to. I'm getting old. This is a meal that's hard to eat and talk at the same time. Because this bread wants to, like, stick to the roof of my mouth. And I feel like I'm going to choke. So, where do you go when you're sad? I, a lot of times, will just go to my bedroom. And if I need to cry, I'll, like, cry on my pillow. Or I'll hold an animal, like my dog or my cat, and cry on them. I don't know that they necessarily appreciate it, but they let me do it. How long does it take you to shower? That depends on what all I need to do. Like, if I'm just taking a body shower, like, 5 minutes. If I need to wash my hair and shave, it's going to take a lot longer than that. Probably closer to 20 to 30 minutes if I have to do everything. How long does it take you to get ready? Again, it depends. If I'm not doing makeup or hair, then I'll just, you know, throw it into a big old messy bun, throw some clothes on, and I'm done. So, like, under 5 minutes. But if I'm doing makeup and doing my hair, then, you know, it can take upwards of an hour, just depending on what all I'm doing. Ever been in a physical fight? When I was like 4 or 5, I punched a girl in the face because she was being mean to me. Other than that, no, I've never been in a physical fight. Most kids in school were scared of me. I was fairly tall, I was broad-shouldered, I carry a lot of muscle. I found out after high school a lot of the guys didn't want to date me because they were scared of me. And I know for a fact a lot of the girls didn't want to fuck with me because they were scared of me. So, there's that. I've heard, like, my entire life, I've heard people say I wouldn't want to get in a fight with you. I've just had that. Like, the most recent time I had that was probably, it was a couple months ago. But my sister-in-law was moving into her new house. And I was, like, helping move everything in. And my sister-in-law and my father-in-law we're working on getting, like, this really big area rug out of the back of a truck. And they were talking about how heavy it was. And I looked at that and I was like, oh, no, it don't look that heavy to me. So I just picked it up and threw it over my shoulder and walked into the barn where they were putting everything. And my sister-in-law was like, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with you. Because, I don't know, I guess it was heavy for them. And it took both of them to load it up at the old house. Because Because I stayed at the new house with my son, and so I was helping unload stuff, but I wasn't at the old house to help, like, pack things. But I've just always been very strong, able to pick up heavy things. I've thought about doing a whole video talking about this because it really messed with me when I was growing up as a teenager, like when it came to masculinity and femininity. I knew I was a girl, but I had a really hard time identifying as a girl. That's a whole other story. I just felt like I was so masculine, like I didn't feel feminine. It was something I really struggled with as a teen. But in all honesty, it was a blessing that I was as strong as I was and physically capable as I was, because my mom has a lot of health problems. She has scoliosis of the spine, not to mention she's really tiny. She's 5 foot nothing, and my dad a lot of the times, like, he would need help with carrying heavy things if they got new furniture or what, you know, roofing. Yeah, I remember one summer my dad and I roofed the house, and like, no, I could never really carry the shingles up, but I still did a lot of heavy lifting and helping with things like, I don't know, I just did like a lot of things growing up that I think a son would do. But I was an only child, I was all my parents had, and they needed me to be strong. They needed the extra help. So, and I got it all figured out by the end of high school, and, you know, I found, you know, a balance with being feminine and still being strong. I know it's just something that I always struggled with because being strong is thought of as being such a masculine trait, and I struggled with it because I didn't feel feminine. I didn't feel tiny and pretty and dainty because I'm not. But there are different ways to be feminine. You know, you don't have to be, you know, willowy and dainty to be feminine. I mean, you can be strong and broad-shouldered and still be feminine. And it just took me a long time to figure all of that out. So, back to the question of physical fights. I've only really been in one. I punched a kid when I was 5 because she was being mean to me. But no, I've never been into a physical altercation besides that one instance because nobody else ever wanted to fight me. I tried picking fights in school. Nobody else ever wanted to take me on. They're like, no, I'm good. Reason for joining YouTube. So, this channel here is new. This is only my second video. But, on my main channel, I have had that channel, it'll be 4 years in June. So 3.5 years that I've been here. And I started off doing YouTube because I like to watch Trisha Paytas. And I thought, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. And I knew at the time she was like making a living off of YouTube. And I just thought that was like such a cool concept of being able to make a living off of YouTube. I've since learned that that does not happen for everybody. I'm really hoping with this particular channel that I am able to start to make a decent profit because I'm niching down. That's something that in all of the studying I've been doing for YouTube is the one thing I haven't been able to do with my main channel is niche down. So this is an eating channel. That's what I do here. That's what you can expect from this channel. I'm going to be eating. And so hopefully that helps niching down for this particular channel. But for my main channel, I'm all over the place with my videos. And I decided to make the separate channel because, as I mentioned, I would love to be able to make a living off of YouTube. With my main channel, I make like $50 to $100 every month. It's not a lot. It's just a little extra pocket cash, which is nice. But it's definitely not a livable wage. But I love the way that channel is so much. I really enjoy it. I like being able to do different videos and just being creative. And I don't want to change that aspect. But in order to make a livable wage off of YouTube, I feel I really do need to niche down my channel. So here's this one. We're going to see how it goes. We're niching down. Fears. I hate spiders. They freak me out. And it's so weird because when I'm outside and I see a spider, especially if they're in a web, I'm fascinated by them. I think they are the most interesting creatures. That being said, if they are in my house, they are probably going to get squished. They just freak me out. They move way too quickly. They're too unpredictable with their movements. They give me the heebie-jeebies. No thank you. When they're outside, they're neat to watch. They can stay outside. When they're in my house, they gotta go. And it's normally down the toilet. And most recently here, I've been really paranoid of the idea of my house catching on fire. I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but the idea of it just freaks me out, and I'm like super paranoid about it. Last thing that made you cry. That's kind of a hard one. Because as far as something that like legit like made me cry, like broke down in tears, like had a good cry kind of a cry, that has been so long. Like, geez, I don't know. It's probably been a couple of years since I've like legitimately just broke down and cried. That being said, since having my son, I do find myself being more emotional. So, like, I'll be watching a TV show or something, and it'll just, like, something will choke me up, and so I might have a tear or something. So that happens quite frequently now. I am quite the pansy. I never used to cry ever, like, about, you know, things like that, like TV show, like, it never used to get me. Now, I'm like, oh, they got a puppy, or, oh, they had a baby, and I'm, like, tearing up. So that kind of stuff happens all the time, now that I'm a mom. But as far as, like, having an actual cry, like, an actual reason to cry, it's been a long time. I've been very blessed. But, I mean, I think I cried after my C-section. I do remember feeling pretty shitty after that. I felt like a crappy mom because I had a really hard time getting up. If you want to see my birth story, I can link it down below. But I was in labor for like 24 hours. Here's like a little synopsis. I was in labor for 24 hours. My doctor called it off and said I needed to have a C-section. And I just felt like I got hit by a truck. It was awful. I've heard that planned C-sections aren't that bad, and people are like up and doing their thing like the next day. And that wasn't how it was for me. Like, I hurt everywhere. And I remember if I wanted to hold my baby, like, somebody had to bring him to me. And for like the first week of his life, thankfully my husband was able to take off. Like, my husband was his main caretaker. And we had issues when it came to breastfeeding. I ended up having to use a bottle, and it was hard. That was emotionally hard and physically hard. And I remember crying over that. But I didn't really like cry that hard about, like, I was sad and I cried, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like, my husband just got in my head because, like, I was really feeling sorry for myself and feeling like a shit person. And he was like, you know, he just told me, he's like, I don't care if you cry, you can cry, but don't cry because you think you're a bad mom, because you're not a bad mom. He's like, you had major surgery, like, it's okay if you can't get up on your own. Like, I really had to just, like, depend on him so much for, like, getting up and getting around. Because sitting down on my own and standing up on my own was very hard to do. And like I said, like, if I wanted to hold my baby or feed him, like, my husband had to bring him to me. And if I wanted to change his diaper, like, my husband had to help me get up off the couch or get out of bed. And so half the time it was just easier and faster for my husband to change him than it was to deal with trying to get me up to go change him. And like I said, it lasted like about a week that it was really, really bad like that. But I do remember crying a bit during that time. Meaning behind your YouTube name. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but my name is Cristin, and I eat on this channel. Cristin Eats. Last book you read was probably one of the Game of Thrones books. I think I got on to book number 3, and it just kind of burnt me out. Like, I'm one of those people that if I read a book, I want to read the book before I see the show. Otherwise, when I'm reading, it just conflicts in my mind, and I lose interest. And so I watched Game of Thrones before ever reading any of the books. And so I'm honestly surprised with myself that I made it to book number 3. But, like I said, I just kind of fell off reading the books. because I'd seen the show first. I like to read the book first and then see the show. I guess he said that already. So I haven't read anything since then, and that's been a while. That was before my son was born. And since having my son, like, I just don't feel like I have the time to really just sit down and read a book. I'm really more into Netflix. I like having shows on like that so that I can be up and I can play with him and I can do things. But I can still hear the story, you know, and not read it, but I can listen to it or watch it, you know, if I'm in the living room or whatever. It's just more convenient. But I do miss reading. I used to be a very avid reader. I used to read all the time. But since having my son, I just don't feel like I really have the time to do it anymore. Not to mention I got super sucked into YouTube. So like if I'm not watching Netflix, I'm watching YouTube. So there's that. Last show I watched. Well, I'm currently working on watching American Horror Story Roanoke Nightmare. I don't mind it. It's decent. Like, it's a good storyline. But I feel like they've had better series. And I don't think this is my favorite one out of everything. I was really expecting more out of the Roanoke storyline than what I'm getting. I'm not really loving the way they decided to execute this season. Last person you talked to. Well, I've been texting my best friend and my husband all day, so. But actually talked to was my son before I put him to bed. Relationship between you and the person you're texting. One is my husband, one is my best friend, and one is my cousin. Let's see if the soup is cooled down enough to eat. And their soup is so good. It's always really hot. Well, like I said, the broccoli cheddar is good. I don't think I've ever had their potato. So we'll see if I like that or not. That was good potato soup. Sorry. I have to readjust. Hopefully my head's not cut off too bad. But if you can't tell, like, I sit down really low here. Right now, I have my foot under myself. But this island sits up higher than my dining room table, which I'm in a dining room chair. And really, I could use bar stools here. But we don't have bar stools. We don't have bar stools because the kitchen's not really big enough for bar stools. Slash, this island would have no place to really put your legs. So, I don't know. I've never really looked into buying them, mostly because the kitchen's not big enough to have stools. There wouldn't be really enough room to walk behind the island. So, never got the bar stools. Favorite food? Anything pasta. Like, I am a pasta junkie. Part of why I'm fat. I eat a lot of pasta. Last night we had raviolis. Tonight we're probably going to have, like, a chicken, broccoli, cheese, hamburger helper. Some more pasta. I'm kind of debating between that or grilling chicken and doing balsamic vinegar, carrots with some vegetables. That sounds good too. I've been loving balsamic vinegar lately. Like, if you have not cooked with balsamic vinegar, it's good stuff. Like, you need to, like, try it out. Place you want to visit. I think it'd be really neat to get to see all 50 states. I don't know if that'll ever happen or not, but the next big trip I'd like to take, I would love to take my son to Disney World. I went to Disney World when I was 5 for my 5th birthday, and it was great. And I'd love to be able to do that with him. So, we'll see. We're a few years out from that, but I feel like I should start saving now. Disney World is expensive. Last place I went, we took a trip to Chicago a few months ago. I think I vlogged that, so I can link it below if you want to go check that out. But we went to go see the, it was at the Field Museum. It was their Jurassic World, and it was really neat. My son loved it. He is, like, obsessed with dinosaurs ever since then. He has, like, 2 dinosaur books. He drags them around everywhere, wants us to read it to him. He has a couple toy dinosaurs. He loves them. If he sees a dinosaur on TV, he's like sucked in, like, dinosaur. So he's really into dinosaurs right now. But that's the last place we went, was Chicago. And we went to the Field Museum and we went to the Shed Aquarium. Do you have a crush? My husband. Man crush Monday, every Monday, for life. My hubby. Last time you kissed someone? This morning. Last time you were insulted? Every day of my life. Isn't everyone insulted every day of their life? I don't know. I'm pretty easygoing. I don't know the last time I was insulted, really. I don't know. It's been a while. Favorite candy? It used to be bottle caps, but I recently got a box of bottle caps, and they're not as good as I remember them being as a kid. So, we'll say Kit Kats. And I like my Kit Kats frozen. They gotta be frozen Kit Kats. And last question here, do you play an instrument? No, I do not. I'm not very musically inclined. I would love to learn to play the guitar. I've tried, failed. I've tried learning how to play the harmonica, can't figure that one out. I've tried the recorder in like middle school, wasn't very good at that. I can remember like elementary school music class, my teacher always stuck me on the triangle. I think that kind of speaks volumes. I'm not very musically inclined. I did do choir in middle school. Wasn't very good at that either. But I think the big problem with the choir was that they wanted all the girls to like sing soprano. My voice does not go that high. I am more of an alto. Like I love singing along to country music songs when it's like the 90s country sung by a man. It doesn't have to be 90s country, but I like singing along to men because I feel like my voice sounds better. When I sing along with another woman, like, it clashes. It sounds awful. So, I still have some soup here to eat, but I think I'm going to eat it off camera because I'm out of questions now. I know this video is getting pretty long. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Again, leave any suggestions down below. Things you'd like to see me eat. Is there any restaurants you want to see me eat or anything you want me to like try out? Any new like foods or anything, let me know. But I think we're going to end things here today. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you did enjoy. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.